Koufax's was the most consistent of any fastball that I had to face.
Ball would start here, and by the time you swing it, it would hop a little bit up here.
Koufax would have been as mean as Drysdale. Nobody could ever hit.
You'll never see anyone like him again. That's what legends say about Sandy Koufax. Hall of Famer Ernie Banks, who faced the left-hander more than any other player in history, cut straight to the truth when he said the experience was simply frightening. This fear wasn't about weakness. It was about respect. It was about witnessing something so rare, so perfect, that it felt almost supernatural. Facing Sandy Koufax became a badge of honor for the greatest hitters of the 1960s, a moment that defined what it meant to compete at baseball's highest level. To understand why legends speak about Koufax with such awe, you need to know there were really two versions of him. From 1955 to 1960, he was the wild bonus baby. Raw power, untamed speed, but frustratingly inconsistent. He went 36 and 40 during those years. The kid had electric stuff, but he couldn't harness it. Then came 1961 and everything changed. Over the next 6 seasons, Koufax went 129 and 47. 3 Cy Young Awards. Absolute dominance. The left arm of God had arrived. The story of how Koufax became the bonus baby explains a lot about his early struggles. When the Brooklyn Dodgers signed him, baseball rules required that bonus players stay on the major league roster. They couldn't be sent to the minor leagues for development. This meant Koufax was thrown into the big leagues without the seasoning he desperately needed. Most pitchers spend years in the minors learning to refine their control and develop secondary pitches. Koufax didn't get that luxury. He was forced to learn on the job against the best hitters in the world. He had this incredible arm, this blazing fastball that could blow past anyone, but he had no idea where it was going half the time. The frustration built year after year. Teammates saw the potential, coaches saw it too, but potential doesn't win games. By 1960, the pressure had become unbearable. Koufax finished that season 8 and 13. After losing 4 games in a row, he seriously contemplated walking away from baseball entirely. He was only 24 years old, but he felt like a failure. The dream of becoming a great pitcher seemed impossible. He even approached the Dodgers management and asked them to trade him. Maybe a change of scenery would help. The transformation happened during spring training in 1961. Koufax was struggling badly. That's when catcher Norm Sherry noticed something crucial. The harder Koufax threw, the wilder he became. Sherry told him to ease up, focus on control, and use his curveball and changeup more. The advice clicked instantly. Koufax later explained his new philosophy perfectly. He became a good pitcher only when he stopped trying to make them miss the ball and started trying to make them hit it. The high walk, high strikeout pitcher became a controlled tactician. The change was total. The wild kid with unlimited potential became the most feared pitcher in baseball. What's remarkable about this transformation is how quickly it took hold. In Koufax's first start after adopting Sherry's advice, the difference was obvious. His fastball still had explosive velocity, but now it was finding the strike zone. His curveball, which he'd been afraid to throw because he couldn't control it, suddenly became a devastating weapon. Hitters who'd been able to wait out his wildness and draw walks now had to swing at quality pitches. The mental shift was just as important as the physical one. Koufax stopped trying to overpower every single batter. He started thinking like a pitcher instead of just a thrower. He set up hitters with one pitch to get them out with another. He worked both sides of the plate. He changed speeds. Suddenly, all that raw talent had direction and purpose. When Hall of Fame catcher Yogi Berra tried to describe what it felt like to see Koufax at his peak, he reached for something bigger than baseball. Berra said there were 2 times in his life when the hair on his arm stood up. The first was seeing the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. The second was watching Sandy Koufax throw a fastball. Think about that comparison. Berra put Koufax's talent on the same level as one of humanity's greatest artistic achievements. That's the kind of awe the left-hander inspired, but awe quickly mixed with terror for the batters who had to step in against him. Willie Stargell, the powerful Pittsburgh Pirates slugger, created one of baseball's most famous quotes to describe the impossible task. Trying to hit him was like trying to drink coffee with a fork, Stargell said. That perfectly captures what facing Koufax felt like. You could see what you needed to do, but actually doing it was beyond human ability. What made Koufax even more intimidating was that he didn't need deception. Willie Mays, one of the few hitters who had real success against him, admitted he knew every pitch Koufax was going to throw. Fastball, breaking ball, whatever. Mays said Koufax would let you look at it, and you still couldn't hit it. Scout Al Campanis confirmed this too. Koufax's mastery wasn't about trickery. It was about perfect execution. His fastball had such velocity, his curveball such devastating movement, that even when you knew what was coming, you couldn't touch it. Mickey Mantle summed up the frustration after striking out against Koufax in the World Series. He turned to the umpire and asked, "Am I supposed to hit that?" These moments show that Koufax's pitches exceeded what even the greatest hitters could process. The psychological impact of facing Koufax can't be overstated. Hitters would prepare for days before facing him. They They'd study film, talk to teammates who'd faced him before, practice their timing against fastballs. None of it mattered. When they stepped into the box and saw that blur of white coming from Koufax's left hand, all their preparation vanished. The fastball seemed to accelerate as it reached the plate. The curveball would start at eye level and drop into the dirt. Hitters found themselves swinging at pitches in the dirt or taking fastballs right down the middle because they simply couldn't catch up to the speed. So which version of Koufax was more terrifying at the plate? The wild bonus baby with unpredictable lightning, or the precise left arm of God with unhittable perfection? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into baseball history. The first recorded battles against Koufax tell the story of that wild early phase. On July 6, 1955, the 19-year-old made his first major league start for the Brooklyn Dodgers against the Pittsburgh Pirates. In that game, he faced another rookie destined for greatness, Roberto Clemente. The result? A walk. That might not sound unusual until you realize Clemente only drew 18 walks in 501 plate appearances that entire season. The walk was a clear sign of Koufax's wild, unharnessed power. He struck out the next batter, but then walked 2 more before escaping the inning. Raw talent was there, control was not. That first start was a preview of Koufax's first 6 seasons. You could see the talent in flashes. A strikeout here, a dominant inning there. But then he'd lose the strike zone completely. Walks piled up. Pitches sailed over catchers' heads. Batters would stand in the box unsure whether to swing or dodge. The wildness wasn't just frustrating for Koufax, it was dangerous. Hitters knew he threw hard enough to seriously hurt them, but they also knew he didn't always know where the ball was going. That created a different kind of fear. Not the respectful fear of his peak years, but genuine concern for physical safety. Willie Mays first stepped in against Koufax on June 29, 1955. Like Clemente, Mays drew a walk in his first appearance. But Mays quickly figured out how to damage the early version of Koufax. In their second meeting on September 2, 1956, Mays hit a home run. Because Mays faced Koufax during those developing years, he built a psychological advantage. Over 122 career plate appearances, Mays finished with a strong 278 batting average, a 426 on base percentage, and a 536 slugging percentage against the lefty. That's competitive. Mays got to study Koufax when he was still learning. That edge mattered. The numbers tell the story of Mays' approach. He was patient against Koufax, working deep counts and waiting for mistakes. In those early years, mistakes came often. A fastball that caught too much plate, a curveball that hung. Mays pounced on those opportunities. Even after Koufax's transformation in 1961, Mays maintained his success because he'd already built a mental book on the pitcher. He knew Koufax's tendencies, his patterns, his favorite sequences. That familiarity gave Mays confidence that other hitters simply didn't have. But for hitters who arrived after 1961, the experience was completely different. Willie Stargell made his MLB debut late in the 1962 season. He never faced the wild bonus baby version. Instead, he walked into the box against the fully realized left arm of God, and the results were brutal. In 24 plate appearances against Koufax, Stargell managed only 2 hits. His batting average was a microscopic .087. His OPS was a tiny .299. Stargell's coffee with a fork metaphor came from facing Koufax when his control was finally perfected. For batters like Stargell, the first encounter was an instant, painful lesson in pitching perfection. Imagine being Stargell in that situation. You're a young power hitter trying to establish yourself in the big leagues. You're confident. You've hit well in the minors. Then you step in against Sandy Koufax. The first pitch is a fastball on the outside corner. You swing and miss. You never saw it. The second pitch is a curveball that starts at your head and drops into the zone for a called strike. You're down 0-2 before you can even process what's happening. The third pitch is another fastball, this time inside, and you're walking back to the dugout wondering what just hit you. That was the Stargell experience. That was what facing peak Koufax felt like for an entire generation of hitters. The true measure of Koufax's greatness is found in how he dominated the very best hitters over hundreds of plate appearances. During his career, Koufax faced 512 different batters, but only 7 Hall of Famers accumulated 100 or more plate appearances against him. Those 7 were Ernie Banks with 143, Hank Aaron with 130, Willie Mays with 122, Roberto Clemente with 122, Frank Robinson with 121, Bill Mazeroski with 109, and Eddie Matthews with 102. Facing this murderer's row of talent consistently proves Koufax's dominance was no fluke. The most interesting competitive story belongs to Hank Aaron. In 130 plate appearances, Aaron posted an astounding 362 batting average and a remarkable 1.077 OPS against Koufax. That's way better than the 202 batting average Koufax allowed overall. At first, this might seem to contradict Koufax's image as untouchable, but it actually makes the rivalry even greater. Aaron's success meant Koufax couldn't coast. He had to maintain absolute peak concentration and execution against the one player who seemed to solve him. That competitive stress underscores the quality of opponents Koufax routinely defeated, and Aaron himself offered the ultimate compliment when Koufax retired. Aaron said the best thing about the pitcher leaving the game was that he no longer had to face him. Think about what Aaron's success reveals. Here was a hitter who figured out Koufax better than anyone else in baseball, yet even Aaron, with all his success, was relieved when Koufax retired. That tells you everything about how difficult and stressful those at-bats were. Aaron had to be perfect. He had to have his timing just right. He had to guess correctly on pitch selection. And even when he did everything right, Koufax still won most of the battles. The 362 average sounds dominant until you realize it came from 130 plate appearances spread over years of competition. That's roughly 47 hits. Koufax got Aaron out 83 times. Meanwhile, other legends struggled mightily. Ernie Banks had some early success against the wild version of Koufax, hitting 250 between 1955 and 1960. But once Koufax gained command, Banks's success faded. His overall struggle defined that frightening quality of the peak years. Lou Brock, the speed demon and elite base runner, also found Koufax nearly impossible. Brock struck out 7 times in just 11 at-bats during the 1963 season. This shows how completely Koufax neutralized offensive strategies. Speed didn't matter. Situational hitting didn't matter. Every plate appearance was fought on the pitcher's terms. Lou Brock's struggles are particularly revealing because Brock was known for his ability to put the ball in play. He rarely struck out. His game was built on contact, speed, and pressure. Against most pitchers, Brock could slap a single, steal second, and score on another hit. But against Koufax, 7 strikeouts and 11 at-bats. That's a 64% strikeout rate. Koufax took away everything that made Brock dangerous. At his peak, Koufax set standards that still define pitching excellence today. He threw 4 no-hitters, culminating in a perfect game against the Chicago Cubs on September 9th, 1965. He was the first pitcher ever to throw 4 no-hitters and just the second National Leaguer in the 20th century to throw a perfect game. That perfect game was a pitcher's duel for the ages. It lasted only 1 hour and 43 minutes. The Cubs pitcher, Bob Hendley, threw a one-hitter himself but lost 1-0 on an unearned run. Under that kind of pressure, Koufax maintained absolute perfection. That perfect game deserves special attention because of the context. Bob Hendley pitched brilliantly. He allowed only 1 hit and no earned runs. In almost any other game in baseball history, Hendley would have won. But he had the misfortune of facing Koufax on a night when the left-hander achieved perfection. 27 batters up, 27 batters down. No hits, no walks, no errors, no base runners of any kind. The game lasted just 1 hour and 43 minutes because there was nothing to slow it down. Among all major league pitchers who threw over 2,200 innings during the 1960s, Koufax led in winning percentage at .695, ERA at 2.36, and WHIP at 1.05. He was ahead of contemporary rivals like Bob Gibson and Juan Marichal. His dominance, along with other great pitchers of the era, was so overwhelming that the commissioner's office discussed rule changes to help offense. Today, his name is the ultimate standard. Scouts and analysts say things like, "I'm not claiming this guy is the next Sandy Koufax, but I am saying he's a great prospect." That's the benchmark. That's what perfection looks like. The 1960s became known as the decade for pitchers, and Koufax was the biggest reason why. The decade saw offense decline across baseball as pitchers like Koufax, Gibson, and Marichal dominated. Eventually, baseball had to lower the pitcher's mound and shrink the strike zone to bring balance back to the game. Koufax's dominance literally changed the rules of baseball. The rivalries Koufax had with fellow Hall of Fame pitchers added even more greatness to his legacy. Bob Gibson, who struggled early in his own career in 1960, faced Koufax often as both rose to legendary status. Juan Marichal dueled Koufax frequently too, including the game where Koufax threw his second no-hitter in 1963. These matchups against pitchers of equal stature validated Koufax's brilliance even further. And scout Al Campanis' statement that Koufax would let you look at it and you still couldn't hit it captures the absolute nature of his mastery. It wasn't about hiding the ball. It was about executing the most powerful pitches with impossible command. When Koufax and Gibson faced each other, it was a clash of titans. Both threw hard. Both had devastating breaking balls. Both had that competitive fire that separated great pitchers from good ones. Those games were often low-scoring battles where a single run could decide the outcome. Fans who saw those matchups witnessed pitching at its absolute highest level. Then, at age 30, Koufax walked away. Traumatic arthritis in his elbow threatened permanent disability. Rather than risk his future, Koufax retired immediately after his 1966 season at the absolute peak of his powers. He explained his decision simply. "I've got a lot of years to live after baseball," he said, "and I would like to live them with the complete use of my body." By retiring at the top, Koufax avoided the decline that comes with long careers. Every memory, every first encounter, every statistic is permanently centered on his perfect, dominant years. He became the youngest player ever inducted into the Hall of Fame at age 36. He was also the first pitcher inducted who finished his career with more strikeouts than innings pitched. The legacy of Sandy Koufax isn't just one of dominance, it's one of perfection, preserved forever forever by the awe and admiration of the legends he faced. If you loved learning about Koufax's incredible journey, make sure to like and share this video.